Welcome to the Gym Breakthrough Podcast. This show is about one thing and one thing only, turning your gym into a thriving business you love to own. So if you want to know what it really takes to grow your membership, make more money, and build a rock-solid community of raving fans, you've come to the right place. All this information is 100% free, so please subscribe to and review our podcast. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Gym Breakthrough Podcast. I am Marcus Gurzy, and I'm here with Emily Schneller, Breakthrough Specialist and Program Manager here at Gym Breakthrough. And today we're going to be talking about specialty program cycles, what they are, and how you can use them to make some extra money, all while making your members oh so happy. Emily, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Marcus.
Always a pleasure. So let's start with a little question here. Have you ever added a class to the schedule because everyone was asking for it, only to have to eventually take it off again because nobody was using it? And if so, what class was that?
Yes, and a few classes, actually. The biggest ones that come to mind are we tried incorporating a yoga class for our members, and we also tried to do a CrossFit for Kids class that we ended up taking off.
Good times. I know It's happened to me. We did it with a whole bunch of different classes, from a powerlifting class to an Ole class to a mobility class, a comp class. Yep. Everyone was asking for it. Oh, it'd be so awesome. Why don't we have that? Can we have that? And so, all right, let's make it happen. And, initial turnout was awesome. And then sure enough, after anywhere from 1 to 3 to 6 months, it was fizzled out. And now we've got like 2 to 3 diehards in there, and we have to end up taking off the schedule because it didn't make any sense. Yep. So that leads me to our topic of the day today, which is about specialty program cycles. And, how common it is for us in this space because of all the different modalities that we touch in functional fitness, particularly if you're a CrossFit facility. We've got so many different areas that we address and that we can specialize in that would add a lot of value to your members' training and help them get where they're trying to go. But we often make the mistake of doing it in the form of just adding classes to the schedule, which really, when you zoom out and look at it, doesn't really benefit everyone anyway. When we look at the psychology and what people are really after and hoping to accomplish with this, that there's a better way, and that is the specialty programming cycle. So really the big challenge for a lot of people is, well, how do I then scratch that itch for the members who want to do more and, they want to really dig in on their, gymnastics and whatnot. This is obviously not addressing the obvious, premium service layer that you can add on through PT or custom program design. So this is, how do I address the masses with this? And, or maybe you aren't in a position yet to where you can do PT or to where you can do custom program design. So we need to find alternative ways to do it. And the concept has been around a long time, but what we're going to do today is we're going to break it down, and we're going to show you guys how to do it, hopefully a little bit better, and in a way that is going to make your life a lot easier, allow you to make a really nice extra income. It's an extra revenue stream in your business, while making your members really happy because you're giving them what they actually want and not what they think they want. So, Emily, what's your experience been with this over the years?
I laughed because if you're not a member of the Gym Breakthrough program, we have our own private Facebook group. We have weekly calls where we come on and you have live Q&As where people can ask questions that they're dealing with in their business. And one of our clients had this come up, and they're like, I'm looking to start a yoga class. And I, in the back of my brain, was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if this is a good idea because I have experienced it and it hasn't gone well. Mm-hmm. So you gave them some really good feedback on ways to implement it better, which we're going to go through today. But it just goes to show you what, listening to the people who have gone before you, listening to that experience and taking it and implementing it into your own business based on what they have experienced. Because I know what I have experienced is the same as what you have experienced at Active, trying to implement these as classes and it just not working out the way that we hoped and thought it would based on the initial response that we got from our members. So I can't wait to uncover the solution today.
Yeah. And, as you were saying that, I was remembering too, because people say, well, I'm adding the class. And then the question is, well, is it just included in membership? Or are you charging extra for it? And I'm not saying that there isn't a place for some classes in some context where you can just include it with membership. The challenge is when I think people try to look at that extra yoga class or that extra powerlifting class as, well, I'm going to sell this as an add-on and or get into hybrid memberships. And it all sounds and looks really good on paper. I fell for the same, like I went down the same rabbit hole, only to end up at the exact same place that everyone else ended up at as well, which is it doesn't really make any sense and it doesn't really work. So we, through grit, figured out the better ways to do it. And so let's get into that today. So like we talked about, this is a great alternative to the evergreen specialty class. And again, it's because people get so excited about the new classes at first, but then the excitement quickly fizzles out. And the next thing you know, you have a class on the schedule with low attendance, and then you threaten to drop the class because no one's attending. And now you've got a few diehards who are butthurt about it. And they swear that this class is the reason why they're still here and don't you dare cancel it. And now you're like, oh, come on, man. Like, I don't want to lose members now over this thing I added for free. Yet here we are. So the specialty program cycle, let's break down what we're even talking about. What this is running a specialty program for a finite period of time. So anywhere, let's say from 6 weeks, or it could be as short as 4, but you're not going to really accomplish much. Let's say 6 to 12 weeks is a sweet spot. And this is where you have, it's an add-on to membership. So it's not a replacement program. This is something that people can do where we're going to specialize in a particular area of training. So it could be gymnastics or Olympic weightlifting, or it could be something like body composition, like a functional bodybuilding program, all different shapes and sizes. And really what it is it's a bolt-on that allows people to engage in that area for a short period of time and enough time to make some progress noticeably, and then be done with it and go back to their regular lives. Because what most people don't actually want to do is really go down the path of Olympic weightlifting and understand what that takes. And if they do, those are your candidates for your custom programs and those who really want to go further with it. But your vast majority, if you're in a group training model, they just like to think that they want to go down that rabbit hole. They just want to scratch the itch, get a little bit better, make some noticeable progress, and then go back to their regular lives applying that progress, right? So these specialty cycles are a fixed price, and we're going to break down all that it includes and how to do it. But that's what we're talking about here, these little add-on cycles, and you can run them multiple times a year, rotating through different topics. It's a lot of fun. So first and foremost, let's dig in. So great way to make extra money, gives a good chunk of your member base what they want, something to specialize on for a short amount of time, scratches that itch for more, but doesn't require an open-ended commitment from you or from them. So the place to start is to pick a program that you think your members are going to love. And you can either do a survey and see what, get some feedback. Hey, we're thinking about doing some specialty stuff, and, here's some options. Which one would you be most interested in? That's a great place to start. Or you may already be tuned in enough with your community to know because you've gotten enough requests about it. But I think that the survey is important because oftentimes you may be making assumptions based on what you think they want. Let them tell you. And by the way, just like in anything, if you let people participate in the decision-making process, they're going to be more likely to buy into it anyway because they feel like it was their idea, right?
Yep. Love that advice.
So once we pick a program that we think that the members are going to love, or we know that they're going to love, now we want to build a 6 to 12 week program around that. And again, so here are the pieces to consider. So we have a one-time price. It's a personalized program for each person that is complementary to the core program. And I think this is important to unpack here. This should be, so let's say you've got a regular CrossFit GPP program. Take into consideration where you are in your cycles. Obviously depending on how you program your philosophy, but make sure that you design something to where they're not going to stop coming to class completely. This should not be a replacement of that. It should be complementary to it. And doing it in a way to where you kind of create like a master template, and then you say, okay, we're going to just personalize it for each individual that goes through it. So it's not a completely custom program. We're all going through the same general thing together, except it's going to be individualized because, Steve's got a bum shoulder and Kelly's got a bum knee, and we've got to modify around that. But that way it's higher value, but we're all going through it together. The next piece I like to include is to have a private class once a week where we bring all those people together to actually train together. Now, Emily, have you done with this format as well?
Yeah, so we have an Olympic weightlifting 6 week cycle that started today. We have 6 platforms, Olympic weightlifting platforms in our gym, and people were sharing platforms today. So really good kickoff to the program. But we do twice a week. So twice a week, everybody gets together, works on just the snatch and the clean and jerk, and we do people have like a benchmark that they do going into the cycle, and then we have like a mini weightlifting internal meet at the end to kind of see what they did in the 6 weeks and how they progressed.
Textbook. Perfect.
Yeah.
And you specifically doing 2 a week, that is Olympic weightlifting is the one that I will usually do twice a week because there is so much value in that actual like coach's eyes on the athlete time. We want to make sure we get as much progress as we can. But in a lot of senses, it's going to be 1 or 2 classes per week, just like you described. And we want to have an initial test in and a test out. You want there to be quantifiable improvement around what they came in for. So it's going to be, our goal is going to be to improve your squat by X, or, your pull-ups or your Olympic lift total or whatever you want to do. Make sure that it is a specific goal, because that way people know what they're buying into, and it's not just this very broad general thing. This is your opportunity to hyper specialize in on something. Now, on top of having the private class, which is, by the way, for members of your program only, this is where they can get together. It builds some of that community. They get some FaceTime. I like to add in a private Facebook group as well. So this is where, when they're not in the gym, this is where we want to make sure we're creating and fostering engagement on as frequent of a basis as we can. So you want to create a content calendar and maybe even themes for the week and things that you can do to really actively engage. Make sure you're posting pictures of your training this week, or make sure you log your workouts this week, and we can create little point systems or games, or at least even if it's just the social engagement pressure of like, hey, everyone needs to post their workouts this week. Everyone needs to post blah, blah, blah this week. Or what was your biggest win this week? How are you feeling so far? And just making sure you're continuously engaging people as they're working through this. And this does not take much effort if you just do a little bit of planning up front. Just thinking about it in advance, creating a few good questions, a few good posts goes a really long way. And then the next piece is to have a weekly check-in with the coach. So how do you guys structure that at RU? Do you guys have a coach that's actually working with the individuals and like taking them through on a weekly basis? Describe that.
Yeah, we have one dedicated coach that is specifically certified in OLI, and she is the one facilitating the group sessions twice a week. So they get FaceTime with Jana every week during the cycle.
Excellent. And is there any sort of communication online as well? Like, is there, they submitting their workouts and she's giving feedback? Is there like a weekly check-in? How are you feeling?
Since we do like the in-person thing, there's no like online aspect to it. We do have a private Facebook group for all of our members. And when you were saying that, I love the idea of having a private Facebook group for just that group in the cycle. But what I have seen happen is, so today was the first day of this cycle that we are doing. We do it quarterly. So this is something that repeats throughout the year. Mm-hmm. But people were going to our members' private Facebook group and being like, this morning was awesome. Like, shout out to Coach Jana for getting me through and teaching me whatever about shoulder to overhead. Mm-hmm. And what I find is that it's creating FOMO for the people that didn't sign up for the cycle.
For sure.
So yeah, that's a really cool thing that's happening right now.
Yeah, you bring up a fair point. There's pros and cons to both. Yeah. And if you can pick or choose, and as long as you execute fully either way, and you create that engagement and you foster them posting and all that, then obviously you're using it to your advantage to help you sell more in the future. And by creating that FOMO, some instances doing the private group and isolating them feels like more value. But ultimately, I think if you're going to know your community best, either one's going to work. I think if you've got you guys have a really strong communication channel with your members, and I think far more than a lot of other gyms do. And so I think that you are able to accomplish that better than many would. But that said, that doesn't mean it can't be something that they strive for. So great
Totally.
feedback.
No, I love the idea of a private Facebook group just for the cycle. I was just mentioning what happens if you don't even implement that piece of it. So.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it can still work out.
Yeah.
I do like to have the weekly check-in from the coach though. And that is a big part of the perceived value. And it doesn't have to even be much as like, hey man, saw that you logged your workouts. Great job on Tuesday with your, squat endurance workout. I can't wait to see what happens next week. Even just a little touch point like that can go a really long way. Again, we want to make this feel as valuable and as fun as possible. And it can even lead often to ongoing custom programming and things like that when you get people into these cycles, because this allows you to kind of filter down those who are really into it. People make a lot of progress. Hey, I want to continue a good thing. You can upsell from there. But the check-in is an easy way to keep that communication going and build perceived value. And then the last piece I like to include, and this is again, take it or leave it, I think it's worth it, is to do a program t-shirt. So actually creating something specific to your specialty cycle. If you are already pretty good with your retail and you have a good line for design and fulfillment for your printing and all that, easy one to add on that adds a lot of value. And again, it's that ongoing marketing. And I always suggest include the year on that, because you could have, like you said, what you do is one of the things that we teach for a lot of the gyms, which is to have regular specialty program cycles throughout the year. And a great way to continue to market that is to come up with a new shirt design that people are going to wear for, from there on out as one of their workout shirts. It's like a badge of honor. Like, I was in this special club, and other people see that. And then so that when they see the next one come up, the one that interests them, then they're going to be, as silly as it may sound, the t-shirt gets people to feel like they want to be part of a club, right? Yeah. And so a simple $10 little add-on, and I would just include it as part of the package. Just make sure you factor that into your packaging, and everyone gets the shirt, not a separate sale.
Love it.
Is there anything else you want to add to what is included in one of these cycles?
I think you hit the nail on the head. All those things are great, and I got some ideas by you offering that advice. So yeah, I think that's all great.
Awesome. So, all right. So now that we've framed up the program, now let's talk about how to actually promote it and get some traction with this. Because I think this is, some people may be listening to this going, yeah, okay, great. I understand how to run the specialty cycle. That's not rocket science. But a problem is I don't sell any, right? And that has everything to do with what you were doing prior to it. So we'll walk you through a method that we really like. This isn't the only way, but this is something that we've seen work really, really well. And Emily, we'll just kind of go back and forth on this here. So
sounds good.
First and foremost, announce that due to popular demand, you guys are going to be doing a workshop on the subject and maybe even doing a specialty program. I think that building a little bit of excitement and saying that this is coming from them. Again, you put out, especially if you put out a survey, you got feedback, people are going to be waiting to see what's next. So after receiving that survey back, now is your opportunity to say, based on all this feedback, it's with overwhelming response, we're going to do a fill in the blank workshop next. We may even do a specialty program to be determined. So this builds a little bit of mystery. It builds some anticipation and gets the ball rolling on your marketing machine. At this point, you should be planning out when you're going to be doing your specialty, your workshop, and then obviously your cycle to follow. And then you want to map out at least 2 weeks of content on the subject building up to your workshop. So we're going to treat the workshop as this is all the marketing is for the workshop, not necessarily the program. Because building up the workshop, I think, is the better way to do it, because we want to have this workshop for members. Ideally, I would make the workshop free to members. I want as many people to attend as possible because that's my sales event. That is how I am marketing the specialty program cycle. And the way that we teach this anyway, this should be part of your ongoing perceived value strategy to be able to continue to add value to the people who care about training by doing regular workshops. So even if someone doesn't sign up, they're going to show up to a really good workshop and they're going to feel like they get a lot of value from their membership, even if they didn't sign up because they think, this is how cool my gym does this. I learned so much. I improved my double unders by X, whatever. They're going to be so stoked. Bonus, you also get to, if you do a good job, this is a perfect segue into your specialty program. So you get to kill two birds with one stone on this. Mm-hmm. from there on out, I mean, without going any further, Emily, what do you have to add to, like, how do you guys promote? What have you seen work really well? Enlighten.
Yeah. So, for example, with this Oli cycle that we have going on right now, Jana did a shoulder to overhead workshop. And my only advice to gym owners out there is to really think about what specialty program you're trying to sell, because in our case, Jana wanted a limited number at her workshop, so each individual person could have hands-on involvement with her. So we did an Eventbrite. We capped it at 20 people. I think that opening it up to as many people as can come works really well, depending on what the offer is.
Totally right.
But with the Eventbrite, what that did was it added a level of scarcity to her workshop, and we find that that works really well depending on what we're promoting. So that's just another little caveat I have.
Love it. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of little nuances and things that you can do to spruce this up.
Yeah.
And adding that scarcity factor. I mean, and you can charge for it. I'm not saying there aren't circumstances where you shouldn't charge for the workshop too, but it's kind of like a lowest common denominator. Volume in, try to sell. But if you can determine already, hey, I'm only going to take on, let's say, 10 people in this program or 25 people into this specialty cycle. If you can determine that, that's already going to give you a good idea as to how you should promote this, right? So if, let's say, you've only got 80 members and you want to get 20 people into this program, it should be get everyone, as many people there as possible, right?
100%. Yeah.
You guys are a bigger gym already. You guys are established. You guys have, I mean, a couple hundred plus people here. So if we open it up to everyone, we could have too many people that show up. And so not only does that make the workshop quality drop, but then you may have too much demand, which, I mean, I guess relatively speaking could be, hey, first 25 people to sign up, run over there to the clipboard and let them trample each other. I guess that's an approach. But in all reality, we would want to calculate that out a little bit, right? So if I've got a huge gym, maybe then I would say, hey, we're only going to be having 40 people at this workshop. So first come, first serve. And we have a special announcement there for you Oli nerds or whatever. And like tease in that there's going to be something more to it so that those who are serious about it are going to take advantage of it. So great input. Again, you're going to have to look at your own situation to see which one's going to serve you better. But now that we've got our workshop on the calendar, we promote it really well leading into it with 2 weeks of really good content, in which, talking about what it is, why it's important, valuable, cool, and so on, the benefits of this to your regular training. So if, let's say, you're talking about Oli, it's like you don't want to get stuck in those workouts, where everything is good and you're like, oh no, it's got a snatch in it. I know that's going to be my weak link. That's the bottleneck for a lot of people. You can really draw this stuff out and create a lot of really good content. Plus, if you have any social proof, and this usually isn't going to happen the first 1 or 2 times, but as you start doing these successfully, make sure that you're capturing the proof of people being successful with these, especially when it comes to repeating this, right? So let's say the first time you do an Oli one, you're going to have to just work without that. Or you could pull in maybe some like people who've done some custom programming and progressed, at least so that there's some evidence that you know what you're talking about. Yeah. But then the second time that you would run that, so let's say next year you're going to run your Oli workshop again, make sure you build into that marketing strategy all that you're going to be able to capture testimonials and before and afters from that workshop, just inherently with the structure that we talked about with the test in and test out. Document it, get videos, get photos, write it down so that next year you're going to have, just pure marketing gold in helping sell that next cycle around. So anyway, so we promote for a couple of weeks. Now we're going to put together, we need to have an awesome 2 to 4 hour workshop on the subject. So a couple tips on how to do this. So for one, make sure you have a plan and treat this like a workshop that someone would spend $500 to $1,000 to attend. And you will inherently create an awesome experience, right? So what certs have you been to or workshops have you been to where you spend money and you walk out of there going, man, even though I spent $500, that was priceless. Well, it's because you show up to something that is well thought out. You're going to talk about what it is that we're talking about and why it's so cool and maybe a little bit of the origin so people learn a little bit about it. Then we're going to go through some drills. We're going to test in, see where we're at. And then we're going to give you some technique and we're going to show you some immediate progress and really lay out a good workshop. And once you have your core plan in place, what I liked to do was I wanted to make sure that I got everyone's goals at the beginning. So a tip for you could be when everyone shows up, once they register or check in, to have them go write their name and their goal for what we're working on. So it could be like, what is your weightlifting goal? Or what is your specific like clean and jerk and snatch goal or strength improvement, whatever. Come up with something specific to have them answer the question, put their name and their goal on the board. This gives you their goals right away already for the workshop. Then you want to have a coachable moment with each person and write down what the coachable moment was. So let's say we're doing Oli. So I would try to zoom in and throughout the different drills and different moments throughout the workshop, I want to have a one-on-one interaction with each person where I come over and say, Emily, all right, try fixing your foot position this way. We're working on pulling and we tighten something up and it improves your pull. Oh, awesome. Thank you, coach. Great. Here's what I want you to keep focusing on. Make sure you're always setting your feet this way. Watch those toes. I'm going to write that down. And even if it's not me writing it down, I had someone that would follow me around that was my assistant while we did these to literally jot down Emily foot position for pulling. So that afterwards I could follow up and send a follow-up email to each and every person, thanking them for coming to the workshop. I hope you had a great experience. I'm glad we were able to work on your foot position. I hope that helps you in your pull. Again, I think you'd be a great candidate for our program, yada, yada. So anyone who didn't sell, at very least, you can provide them with the personal follow-up, which even if they're just an attendee who's not planning on signing up, they're still going to feel like that was awesome. They had a coachable moment and you reminded them of that. They had something specific to them. And by the way, this is your golden ammunition to help sell people into the program after the fact for any open spots you may have left.
Brilliant. I love it. So
you have your workshop laid out. You're going to throw down a great experience for people. And now we get to the offer at the end. So I'm going to turn this over to you because you've done this really well many times over, and then we'll take it apart from there. So tables turned, you're up.
Yeah. So making an offer at the end, you always want to kind of pitch whatever program that you're offering at the end of your workshop. And I always, when I'm talking in a workshop, I always kind of sprinkle in like my clients, blah, blah, blah. So they know that I work with people like continually throughout the year. And they're not surprised by the pitch at the end. Or I'll like with a nutrition cycle, I'll be like, this person experienced this in the last nutrition program. So they're not surprised by the pitch at the end, right? A really good strategy to get people to opt in quickly is to have a fast action bonus. So for example, with the last nutrition workshop that I did, I kind of pitched the next group program. And I told people that at the end of the day, I was going to send them a link to join the next nutrition program. And because they attended the live workshop, they were going to get a special gift for me. And that before the link went live for the public to join, they were going to get a special link and they were going to get a discount for choosing to participate in the program before the link was released to the public. Mm-hmm. So they got like a $10 discount. Like it wasn't even much, right? And I sold a couple $1,000s that day. So that's a really good way to get people to act quickly. And they're feeling all good about the workshop. They feel like they've learned something. So you want to give them an incentive to sign up as quickly as possible when they have all those warm and fuzzy feelings going on.
100%. Nailed it. So make sure you have your offer ready, right? So this is what you're going to offer everyone. But then you need to also have your fast action discount for taking action that day, or let's say within like 24 hours or 48 hours you put a timeline of 48 hours on it?
Yes.
Yeah. So 48 hours. And some people will even do it just on the spot. Like you have to sign up before you leave today. There's little variations of this. You can play with it. I like your approach better to where they have a moment to think about it or look at their schedule, but it's short. It has to be a really short window. Yep. And the reason why that works is that some people will sign up on the spot, but then a handful of people will go home on the verge of signing up, not having pulled the trigger yet. And this is where that follow-up email now comes in saying, hey, Emily, Awesome job. So glad you were here today. I'm so glad we were able to work on your starting position. I hope that helps you on your goal to, a 150-pound snatch. And, by the way, I think you would be an awesome fit for this. I'd love to see you in this program. I know we can help you get to your goal, yada, yada. So an email like that afterwards, that's personal, specific to the thing that we worked on, specific to your goal, because I used my notes and the goal you wrote on the board. This is how I'm going to write all those emails.
Pushes them over the edge.
Push them over the line. That's right. A little nudge email. And that will get you significantly more sales over that 24, 48 hour period before you roll this out to everyone else. And really, your goal is to hopefully fill your program based on that alone, right? If that happens, you did something right. And at very least, afterwards, make sure, by the way, for your workshop that you've got a good media plan. You want to make sure you're documenting all this stuff. So have someone who's there to take pictures, some video, and even doing like some Facebook Live stuff, showing like the really fun stuff in action. PRs for the day you share afterwards. Hey, awesome workshop today. We had 9 PRs just today alone. Can't wait to see what happens with the program, etc. And we've only got so many spots left. You get to play all of that out over that next week as you then are promoting that final set, because you need those assets. That's going to help you promote, plus help you market next time, because now you'll have actual photos of you doing a workshop on the topic, all the things. So make sure you have a good media plan.
Something that you said there was key too. Have somebody there to do it for you. You should not be the one that's required to do the workshop and take all the photos, and have somebody there dedicated. That is their job.
Yes.
It's not, hey, find somebody in the audience, can you take some pictures of me talking? Like, have somebody on your team that it's their job to do this.
100%. And you do not have to have a professional. Anyone with a new iPhone, just teach them, hey, I want them landscape, not vertical. Yes, use the focus. And just try to get a good shot of at least everyone. Make sure you get some shots of me teaching, get some pictures of the whiteboard. Like, just come up with a basic shoot list, a basic plan. Here's the agenda for the day. I want a picture of this here, there. Great. And then they're just floating around. Do a little Facebook Live maybe while we're doing the kipping drills here or whatever you're doing. And now you have you've got a full package afterwards to use for all sorts of different things. And it's really simple, because you need to be the one in the photos. If you're hosting the workshop, there should be pictures of you teaching this workshop, of you coaching people. That's what you're selling here. And if you're the one who's like, hold on, let me capture this moment, totally blowing it. So,
100%. Yep.
Okay, so we make the offer at the end. Then we promote it all week to fill any remaining spots. By the way, you should be doing updates on how many spots are left. Only 3 spots left, down to our final spot. Text everyone directly, asking them to join. So you have a list of everyone who attended. And obviously, once you've gone through the group of people from the workshop, let everyone know. And you could always send a direct text message to everyone who is not joined yet, saying, hey, we've got a couple spots left. I think you'd do great in the program, and see if you can pull a few more people over the line. And then at this point, now it becomes a matter of basically sharing, and you want to share moments on social while your program then is active, right? So program now launches. It's time to promote in real time, because we want to create as much FOMO as possible while the program's happening. So people's goals, training photos and clips, PRs, fun moments, shots of if you have a separate Facebook group, shots of that group in action, like a screenshot of all the activity that's happening in there. And this will sound kind of silly, but this is a part of like good experience design, is actually planning something funny or something memorable or something silly that you can have happen during the course of this program that you can then turn into a thing. And I mean, this will be up to your creativity to come up with some fun things to do, but you can do all sorts of different things. Use your personality, but see if you can come up with something memorable, something unique, something that's a little more courageous than what you may be thinking, like, oh, I have to be this perfect thing. The more unique of moments you can create while it's happening, it'll bond people. And the more bonding that you have happen, the better it logs as a memory and all the things that come from this. People will be raving fans of it. So if you can stage that even to some effect, or plan that, or set it up to happen, even if it happens naturally when it does happen, a little bonus. You want to make sure you document that.
I'm laughing because I was teaching a fundamental yesterday to a member, and I was teaching her the burpee. And in like completely deadpan straight face, I was like, clapping is the most important part of the burpee at the end, and we clap because everybody loves burpees. And she like didn't know if I was joking or not. I like let the cat out of the bag that I was joking. But yeah, little fun stuff like that is totally makes it memorable.
Totally, exactly right. And then, so once we finish the program, so program runs its course. Now you want to do a big wrap up at the end. So really celebrating that last bit. So like you said, doing like an Olympic lifting meet, or like a test out where we all get together and make it a big deal. Really hype this thing up to the people who are in the program and to everyone outside of the program. Document it again, just like you documented that workshop and you had a plan for that. We want a really strong finish at the end. So make sure that you really orchestrate something that's going to feel very celebratory, sets people up for a big win. Obviously you want to make sure your program is doing that too, right? So if it's you want to have, if it's a gymnastics thing, doing like a pull-up test at the end, make sure that you've got a really strong pull-up progression working over those, 6 to 12 weeks to really get a good turnout. But set everyone up for success, document. And now that way we can really hammer that FOMO for people who missed out and they're like, oh man, you serious? You had like an 8 pull-up PR, or, we've got how many first time muscle ups today, or like really think about what would help. First of all, the people went through the program, what would that make them say, wow, that's so cool that I accomplished that, right? But also at the same time, that's going to help sell it moving forward and help, even if it's a totally different category. You did Ole this time, the next one's gymnastics. Just that you do these programs and they're super effective will help you sell the next one, even if it's a totally different subject.
Yeah, love it.
And again, like different areas you can address, like different types of specialty cycles. You could do Olympic lifting, powerlifting, endurance. You could do group nutrition. You could do rowing. You could do gymnastics, yoga, mobility, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, Emily, anything that you feel like we missed or you can add to that?
No, it sounded like a lot of steps and that there was a lot that went into kind of thinking about specialty programs. And it is. It's not something that you should just slap together. But if you just zoom out and think about it in steps, it's something that you talk about all the time. It's the pre-promotion, it's the intra-promotion, and it's the post-promotion to give people FOMO. Mm-hmm. So think about it in those kind of 3 chunks and what could you do to really allow your members to get the most out of the program.
100%. Love it. Nice job, Emily.
Yeah.
Good episode.
You too, Marcus.
Thanks.
Good job.
All right. I want to thank all of you for joining us today. We hope this was helpful for you. Hopefully you are going to plan out your next specialty program cycle and you're going to make lots of money and lots of happy members from it. And let us know in the comments if you do. We'd love to hear about it. If you have questions, let us know in the comments as well. And obviously this is for those of you who are watching this video in our private Facebook group. You may also be finding this on YouTube, or you may be listening to this on the audio version only, in which case I encourage you, find our Facebook group, The Breakthrough Gym Formula, join it. This is where we talk about all sorts of interesting things, and we have the video version of this podcast happening live every week. So on that note, I want to thank you for joining us, and we will look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Until then, bye-bye.